Yield.
Gentleman yields. I
And
will.
Mr. Chair, I've got a unanimous consent.
Without objection.
Thank you so much. This is the GAO report that says that there was a 33% decrease in non-citizens incarcerated in
Without
BOP
objection.
from 2017 to 22. Thank you.
I now recognize Mr. Moskowitz from the great state of Florida.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before I begin, I have a unanimous consent request.
Without objection.
I ask unanimous consent to enter into the record an article by Emma Bucher titled, Doge Musk Oversight of Federal Workforce Causing Frustration for FCI Thompson Staff.
Without objection.
I have another unanimous consent request.
Without objection.
You want me to read it, or
Not really, but go ahead.
can I text it to you later? Or? All right, so unanimous consent requests, obviously. I'll give them to you, Mr. Chairman. I'll skip that. All right, let's begin on my time. So thank you, Mr. Chairman. And, you know, I appreciate this hearing, and it's always a pleasure to go after Chairman Jordan. And, you know, I've been listening to my colleagues talking about investment, personnel shortages. And, of course, we're talking about that in a time where Doge has its fingerprints over all the agencies, including your own. So at a time where we're talking about personnel shortages, we're actually firing people. We're convincing them to leave. We're retiring them, right? And don't get me wrong, like, you guys need more resources, right? You need more people. You got crumbling infrastructure, right? We need to be tough on crime, tough on criminals. I get all that. And there's definitely need to be serious reforms, right? This is a serious conversation. But, you know, earlier I was listening to the ranking member, and she brought up something about Trump talking about Alcatraz. And of course, look, this is just another distraction to divert attention away from the tariffs or rising prices or the struggle on Main Street. But since we're having a hearing on prisons, it's lucky timing for me. So, 3 times more expensive than any prison to operate in 1959, Alcatraz was. Okay? It needs about $250 million to shore up the infrastructure and utilities. All food and water has to be barged in, sewage has to be barged out. The facility is almost 100 years old. And so I don't get it. In the days of Doge, where we're cutting budgets, we got to find savings. Now we're going to what? We're going to cut Medicaid and SNAP so that we can pour money into Alcatraz. First of all, have you been to Alcatraz recently? It literally it's a rust box walking around. You need a tetanus shot just to go into the building. Do we still give tetanus shots, or has RFK gotten rid of those? I can't keep up. And so, listen, where did the president get this idea all of a sudden? Right? Where did he get the idea? Perhaps he was watching Escape from Alcatraz, right? And I brought boards because some people are visual learners. Perhaps he was watching Escape from Alcatraz by Clint Eastwood. Actually, funny part about that, it was actually on television in South Florida. It was on PBS South Florida over the weekend when Trump was at Mar-a-Lago. In fact, he made his announcement just hours after it aired. You know PBS, the programming that he's trying to get rid of, so just in case you're keeping up, right? It's 2 dolls for girls and 0 Elmos, okay? But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it wasn't that. Maybe he was watching The Rock with Sean Connery. You know this one. This is where Sean Connery goes back to Alcatraz because he originally escaped Alcatraz and he needed like an expert on chemical weapons. Maybe the president was just Netflixing and chilling, like watching The Rock, which is not to be confused with The Rock, right? That's a different person. And then the president's really excited about these sharks, right? He's talking about all the sharks and the person escaped. He lost his clothing. So, you know, sharks, they don't have laser beams on. They don't have laser beams, but maybe the sharks are going to be there. So this is just all ridiculous. But then all of a sudden after that, we heard like, oh, we're going to tariff the movies. Well, hold on a second. Why would we tariff the movies? This is where the president is getting his ideas from. We can't tariff the policy idea making of the presidency. And look, I know what my colleagues are going to say. They're going to say, Jared, just let the president cook. This is 4D chess he's playing. And I'm going to say, maybe he's just watching late night movies. Perhaps he's just watching late night movies. In fact, we're told he got this movie tariff idea from no other than John Voight, you know, the guy who was in that great movie Anaconda. I don't know if you've seen that. And so this is the ridiculousness that's going on. So I want to end with this. Mr. Pearl, you run a faith-based organization, right? No? Oh, it's Mr. Wild, you run the faith-based organization. Sorry. You think it's a good idea to reopen Alcatraz? You think the faith-based community has been pounding the table to reopen Alcatraz?
Prison Fellowship's stance is that prisons should be safe, effective, efficient, and uphold human dignity.
Okay, let me make it easier for you. All four of you, which one of you think we should reopen Alcatraz? Just raise your hand. Okay, so for my colleagues who sometimes, you know, are a little slow, no one raised their hand, okay? Nobody, not a single witness. None of your witnesses here think we should reopen Alcatraz. And so, you know, we have real problems in the prison system. It does need reform. It does need money. We can work on that together. But the president puts out Alcatraz as a distraction. Thank you.
The gentleman yields. I am going to yield to myself. I had prepared remarks, but before we get into them, so much has been said on the other side. I just want to address some of that. First of all, I want to say, Mr. Moskowitz, you really do have talent. You really do have potential as a full-time stand-up comic, for real. You're good. You're good. It's fun. It really is enjoyable. No.